So in today's video, I've come along to the Gower Peninsula and a place called Rhossili, voted the best beach in Europe and top 10 in the world according to Suitcase magazine, to answer one of the biggest questions that I get asked on YouTube. What camera do I use? Well, in this video, let's jump into my setup. Well, after posting a series of videos on YouTube, the one question I keep getting asked now is what camera kit do I use to make my vlogs? Now this is a Canon EOS M50 mirrorless camera. It's kind of mid-range in terms of budget. It costs between £500 and £600. It's got image stabilization. It films in 4K. I've got it on a jobby kind of tripod, if you like, that I walk with. And it comes with a kit lens, which is 15 to 45mm. That might not mean anything to you whatsoever. It didn't to me after sort of watching hours and hours of YouTube videos for the best vlogging camera. But I now use a 11 to 22mm lens on the Canon because it gives you a bit of a wider space back here, which I'll show you the differences in just a second. Didn't always start off with a Canon. I did have a GoPro 6 for the earlier videos. So if you go back and watch Kuala Lumpur and Bali, for example, I took a GoPro 6 in like a mounted cage with a microphone that had to have an adapter, and it was just a lot of work. The batteries didn't last, and it kind of all came to an end for me when filming a time lapse after getting up at 1 o'clock in the morning to the top of Mount Batu volcano in Bali. The whole thing died, so it was time to get some new kit. So this is the Canon EOS M50 mirrorless camera that sets you back about £600. It comes in silver or black. I've got the kind of white with a silver lens, and let's show you the differences between those two lenses. So this is the additional lens. It's the Canon zoom lens, an EFM 11 to 22mm, and as you can see, it opens the space up a little bit more. That's Worm's Head down in the Gower, an amazing picturesque spot to come and test out the wider lens. So you get a more wider shot, you get more of your face in as well. It's not as close to your face as the kit lens that it comes with, and we'll compare that now side by side. This is the 11 to 22, and let's try out the 15 to 45. And this is the kit lens, the EFM 15 to 45mm that the camera comes with. A slightly shorter crop factor, so a bit closer to your face. And if I pan out there to Worm's Head, you can see you don't quite see all of the same picturesque background that you do on the other lens. Nothing wrong with this for your first vlogging camera lens, but my advice, if like me you're doing travel videos or vlogging, it is worth picking up the extra lens. Now the camera also comes with a touchscreen LCD display, which takes some getting used to, actually seeing yourself as you're recording. But I used a camera without one, and once you've got this, it's so hard to go back. So if you're setting up your frames per second or trying to create a time lapse, it's all touchscreen, and it's really handy to have that on the camera. And what's pretty impressive about this lens is you get that awesome field of view. Now the camera also lets you film in 50 frames per second, so you can film some skateboarding scenes, some cookery, maybe a nice slow motion scene across the skyline, and you can slow that footage right down later on. So as well as filming in full HD, the camera also films in 4K. Now there is a slight crop factor when you do film in 4K, but I'm going to test out the footage so you can see how 4K compares to 25 and 50 frames per second. There's a volunteer just searching for a swimmer out to sea. So we're going to film him in 4K, and I'll show you the difference in the footage. Now the camera also has a HDMI port which you can plug straight into a laptop or computer and use the camera as a webcam or even for Facebook and YouTube Live. Now in terms of the sound on the Canon M50, I use a Rode microphone compact on camera mic. This is about 50 to 60 pounds, comes with an adapter that goes straight on top of the camera and it plugs straight into the Canon's port on the side of the camera itself. Comes with a dead cat, which is like a sound muffler, so if you're in windy conditions, this is handy. It's really windy today, so this is just perfect if I'm filming. And if I take the actual dead cat off, this is the sound of the camera itself. So this is the onboard microphone on the Canon M50, equally as good if you're filming around town or at home, but if you're on top of a mountain and the conditions are pretty windy, I'd always recommend getting one of these. Now if you are doing interviews, you can also pick up some lavalier mics. This is the Boya lavalier microphone that plugs straight onto your shirt. It's a by M1, or if you want to do a double header, this is a 2 microphone lavalier mic by Maona. So equally, that's a great setup for sound on the Canon M50. So that's it, the perfect setup that works for me on YouTube, the Canon M50. And if you found this video useful, consider subscribing.